see everybody. How you doing this morning?
Doing great.
Good. Good to see you guys. I'm excited. How many get along about the Beastie Boys over there? You're welcome. My bride loves the Beastie Boys, man. So it's good to see you this morning. I'm excited to be with you. Again, this week, team, you get to define this day. You get to define this week. We're going to make sure we jump right in and do that. Let's start off with anybody got anything this morning they want to share? Something you're grateful for, a big win you had this week. What do you got this morning? Let's hear from some of you. Kick us off. What do you got this morning? John Davidson. I had hair back when this song came out. Come on, John. There you go. Not many people can pull that look off, John. You know what I mean? Anybody this morning, anything good to share? Nobody has anything good to share this morning?
Good morning, Dusty. I have something good to share.
There we go. Come on, Loretta.
Good morning. We had a morning huddle with our office, KEW Midtown, and the listing was really cool because we got the listing for, if anyone remembers, Mean Joe Green, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So a lot of people came out. It was a huge event, and it was just a lot of fun. We had terrible towels flying, so can you imagine in Texas? But great listing in Flower Mound if you know anybody looking for a beautiful home in a gated community. So that's where we were, and it was amazing.
I love it. Congratulations too. Well done. Listing Mean Joe Green's house. Come on now. Very good. Anybody else this morning got something good to share? A win you had this week? Anybody?
I'll share, Dusty. So I had a great date with my wife this weekend on Saturday. We went to the High Museum of Art here in Atlanta. They got a bunch of really cool stuff. I was surprised. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. So
you got pulled along and then got there and were like, this isn't that bad. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Hey, great job. Saturday night, date night too, Michael. That's awesome, man. That's great to hear. Awesome. Anybody else this morning?
Hi, this is
I got something to share.
Go, Vanessa, and then go Vanessa.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I want to share that I received 3 referrals over the weekend, and it's from sign calls. I've put a QR code next to my sign to find out if they pre-qualify for the home. And I've had people registering, and none of them have realtors. So I'm like, okay, I need to do this for every listing.
Well done. Everybody write that down this morning. Come on now. Great job, Vanessa. Very good. Let's see. Red, I think you had your hand up and somebody else was about to speak though. Who was that?
I'll share after Rhett.
Go, Rhett,
Ryan.
You got something, buddy? Go, Rhett, and then Ryan.
Yeah, so we did a date night. I say date night with our son. One thing that I've noticed is that I think, at least for myself, the areas that we live in, we take for granted some of the things that other parties that would be moving here want to know about that I don't know about. So I don't go to downtown Nashville a whole lot, but we're being much more purposeful about that. I'm a big foodie, so we went to the Country Music Hall of Fame. I got to experience that firsthand. It was some really cool stuff, especially if you're into country music and the history of it. But from last week to this week, I think I've taken on 4 new buyers and 1 pretty much guaranteed listing and then another potential one. So it's been a good week.
Come on. Stay out there. That Country Music Hall of Fame thing is cool too, brother. Come on now. We're a little bit country over here in the Oglesby house. I mean, my name's Dusty. My brother's name's Rusty. It's the only thing you could grow up on, okay? So Ryan, speaking of country, Ryan Holmes, my buddy from Merkel, Texas. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm in Palm Springs at the moment, which I'm pretty excited about. So there will be a golf ball put in the ground today. But what I liked is, Dusty, I was getting on the plane out of DFW to come this way and bumped into we're out here for a co-op conference. And a guy named Chris, and he may be on. He may not be waking up at 5 o'clock to get on this, but he said, man, thank you for introducing me to Dusty. He gets on the call. So again, it's another co-op guy, has nothing to do with real estate, but is enjoying these calls every Monday. And so I just wanted to share that with you, that another guy, the seed that was planted back in October is still growing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, team, please make sure, let anybody know. Our call every Monday morning is regardless of industry. It's about setting the condition of our heart and our mind and our spirit, that we would walk out this week the way we desire to walk out. What we're talking about today is connection and connecting this time right here and connecting who we are with all of our tomorrow. So one more, Cherie, go for it.
Sorry, I'm trying to drive and talk at the same time. If there are any attorneys on the line, I didn't say that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I wanted to tell you a little story about what happened to me yesterday. I was in a parking lot. I was getting ready to turn into a parking space. And I didn't have my blinker on, but I was clearly going into that parking space. Another car then tried to go into the parking space, and I actually honked my horn, and they hesitated and they moved away. And it was a Starbucks parking lot. And I realized they seemed like they were slow and kind of confused. So I went in, and the only reason why I honked my horn, because we don't honk our horns in Gainesville, Florida, was just because I had to go to the bathroom so bad. And so I rushed in to Starbucks, and I went to the bathroom. I came out and I saw a lady, and I said, "Hey, I think you were the person I honked at." And she's just been in the country for about a year. And she said, "Did I do it very wrong?" And I said, "Oh my goodness, don't worry about it." We had a wonderful conversation. I paid for her drink, and we have a beautiful, beautiful connection now. And so that's just to say, you know, she wasn't right. She wasn't wrong, nor was I right or wrong. But we got to take that moment to have an understanding, to talk about kids in life. And it was just one of the most glorious things. And she's been texting me throughout, telling me how I made her day, because she's so new in this country. So that was really cool.
Cherie, well done. Come on, y'all give it up. That's awesome, Cherie. Well done. Right? Hey, how many people do you think we come in contact with every day that need a conversation like Cherie had with her yesterday? How many times do we not stop and think about, right? We get in our own world and our own view, and we don't think about the things that are around us, maybe the people that are around us. And I'll say this, regardless of what industry you're in on this call, can I tell you the industry we're all in? It's called the people industry. Regardless of industry that you come into, every single one of us are in the people industry. And what we're talking about today on the call is with people. How do we do that really, really well? And the first place that starts, that we're going to be talking about here in just a few minutes, the first place that connection with other people starts is connection with yourself. I think this is what we miss a lot of times is you and I have a disconnect within our own heart, within our own mind, within our own spirit. Have you ever felt like this? Have you ever just felt disconnected even from yourself? And so we're going to start this week just like we start every week. I'm going to play a song here for a couple minutes, and I just want you to spend the next few minutes connecting with you. I want you to write down those things we do each and every single week. What are 5 things you're grateful for? Who are 5 people you're grateful for? This is where that connection really starts, okay? Write down today your intentions. Write down today just what you're thinking, like what's in your heart and what's in your mind, okay? And begin to connect with you, and then we're going to dig in today and really talk about connection. So pull out your journals. We're going to dig in here for a few minutes, and then we're going to circle up. Be ready to jump off mute when we come back and tell me some things that you wrote down, all right? Here we go. Take a few minutes, connect with you. This is your week. This is your day. Really take a few
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In green pastures he makes me lie down. He restores my soul and leads me on for his name, for his great name. Surely goodness surely mercy right beside me all my days, and I will dwell in your house forever and bless your holy name. You prepare a table right before me in the presence of my enemy. And though the arrow flies and the terror of night is at my door, I'll trust you, Lord. Surely goodness, surely mercy, right beside me all my days, and I will dwell in your house forever and bless your holy name. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are on my side. Oh, and even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are on my side. Surely goodness, surely mercy, right beside me all my days, and I will dwell in your house forever and bless your holy name.
All right, all right. Good morning. What's something you wrote down this morning? What's something you thought? What's something that you felt this morning as you start to create that connection within your own self as you start your day and you start your week? Anybody this morning? John, go for it, buddy.
Yeah, I wrote down, I do not walk alone. And I know you and I have talked about this. You know, it took me a long time to find my faith and get to my particular walk in life. And the weight was extremely heavy when I was literally walking alone. The goal every day now is to wake up and reflect everything that I get from my Lord and Savior, to reflect that into the relationships that I have with others, because I don't ever want them to feel like they're walking alone. So whether they believe or they don't believe, my goal is just to make them feel as though they're not walking alone. I mean, the door to the kingdom where I stand is always open. Not everybody's going to come in, but know that if you're not going to come in or don't want to, then I'm going to come out there and I'm going to meet you where you are. And that's just an everyday thing. Life was not always like that, but I got chased for almost 50 years of my life before I actually got caught and found. And I would be remiss if I didn't take that same energy that the Lord had for chasing me and go out and chase other people. And that's just a way that I try to live life every day. And I heard that in that song.
Yeah, well done, John. Yeah. Hey, how many of you have had some moments where you felt like you were alone? Anybody? Is that just me? Okay. Hey, one of the biggest reasons we created this call every Monday is to remind each and every single one of us that we're not. Right? Hey, we're all running together here. It's why we built this community called Define. And John, you said that really, really well, that, hey, I want to make sure that other people know, right, that you don't walk alone, regardless of belief, regardless of background, right? That we all know, hey, none of us on the screen walk alone. Well said. Amber, go for it.
Good morning from Carolina. So my son is almost 10 and he has just started this year, his first year playing basketball. So a lot of these boys have been playing for like 5 years. So I'm super grateful this morning that he is brave enough to get out there and learn a brand new skill. And
Right.
even though he's not the most proficient yet, like watching him like, run for it and practice and go after it has kind of given me a zeal myself.
Yeah.
To go after what I'm going through in life at a high level. Our kids teach us and sometimes we teach them back and forth.
That's right. That's right, Amber. The resilience, right, of a 10-year-old little boy saying, hey, man, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give everything that I've got, lay it all out on the court. Well done. Congratulations to your son. That's awesome. What a lesson we can learn from 10-year-olds. Come on. I learn a lot of lessons from 11-year-olds every week. 2 of them. So anybody else this morning? Well, hey, here's what we're going to lean in and talk about today, and that is connection. You saw that come out in your email. I believe this is one of the keys across the board to success in every single part of our lives, in our businesses, in our homes, right? Inside the 4 walls of our homes is what does connection look like, and how do we really be a people of connection? All right. And so I'm going to give you quite a bit today just to listen to write down, to think through as you think about connection for you as well. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of walk through a few things around what does connection require? Okay. How do we get connected? All right. And so I'm going to give you just a few of these. There's about 6 of these things, and how we really, really get connection and build connection again inside our 4 walls. I want you to think about all the relationships that you have in your life, the business relationships, your friends, your acquaintances. We just heard Cherie talk about how she created a new connection, right, in one conversation with somebody. And I believe that each and every single one of us were created to connect. John, to your point that we're not supposed to do this life alone, right? Can I tell you guys something about Dusty Oglesby? Dusty left to Dusty does not go well, okay? Right? Like Dusty in connection and in community with other people goes very well. Dusty left to Dusty does not go well. And maybe that's you as well. But I believe we were created for connection. So what does that look like? What does connection require? How do we do that? So here's the first thing. I'm going to give you about 6 things that connection requires. And my goal is that this will help you maybe recognize some areas in your world where maybe there's a disconnect. And then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. Okay. So here's the first thing that connection requires. If we're going to connect with ourselves, if we're going to connect with other people, if we're going to connect inside the 4 walls of our home or connect in business, here's the first thing it requires. It requires humility. It requires humility. And a great definition of humility is this. It's not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's not thinking less of yourself. You are not less of a person. You don't have to walk that way to be humble. It's that we're thinking of ourselves less, meaning we're understanding the importance of other people. We're understanding that there's a lot more going on than just what's in our world. Does anybody ever kind of just get blinders on and you think you're the only one going through something, right? Humility is understanding that this is a big world that we live in, and it's not just about me. Okay? It's not just about me. In fact, one of my favorite books that I've ever read is The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. And the very first sentence of that book says, It's not about you, right? Now I'll tell you, it is and it isn't, right? And so humility, if we want to connect with other people, it starts with humility. If you don't believe me or agree with that, I want to ask you, what type of people do you want to connect with? Do you want to connect with people that are all about themselves? Do you want to connect with people that are selfish and only think, right? You want to connect with people that are humble. Humility is an attractive quality, and that's part of being connected. Okay, here's the second one. All right. Connection requires asking great questions. It requires asking great questions. Hey, let me ask you this. How do you get to know people? You ask, right? You ask. How do we learn about where someone's at or what they're going through, right? I love what Cherie said, that she met this lady and started asking questions and found out that she wasn't from here and started to learn about her. And you heard Cherie's language. She literally said, we created this awesome connection. Okay. And the way you create connection, the way we create connection with other people is to ask great questions. And as team, I want to coach you to ask open-ended questions. Okay, not yes, no questions. Ask open-ended questions. Questions like what questions? Like it starts with what? Questions like how questions, why questions. And what happens is we start to ask questions, okay? We start to get to know more about who people are. All right? More about who people are as we ask great questions. All right. So from the time my kids were little, I would ask questions like when I would crawl into bed with them at night as they would go to bed, I would ask questions like, hey, what's something that happened today that made your heart happy? And my kids would just start talking. And I would start learning about the heart of my kids. You guys tracking with me? All right. I'd say, hey, what's something today that maybe made your heart sad? And I would learn more about the heart of my kids. So asking great questions is a way that we connect. Part of my job as a coach, and those of you who are in coaching with me, Rhett, I start every call with asking you questions, don't I?
Yes, sir.
Like that's the first way we start. Hey, what's going on today? Where can I serve you the best today? How can, right? All these types of questions. So the next is this. This is a huge one. Everybody write it down. Connection requires effort. Connection requires effort. Okay. If you want to be connected within the four walls of your home, it's going to require an effort. Okay. So let's stop putting that effort on other people and take ownership of the effort in our own world, right? If you want to connect with people in business, it requires effort. Some relationships require more effort than others. Yes or no? Okay. A lot of times, maybe if there's a big difference in personality, it's going to require more effort by you to lean in. So let me ask you, what level of effort are you putting forth in the connection of the relationships in your world? All right. I used to travel about 120 days a year. That's a lot of travel. Come on now. All right. I got a lot of airline miles and I can stay for free at the Marriott anywhere in the world. Okay. So I did this for a long time. And when I would come back home, so I may be gone 3-4 days in a row, coaching, teaching, pouring myself out. And I would come back home and I would want you to know, I'd get to my house, it'd be like 10 o'clock at night. And I would be absolutely exhausted. All right. And the only thing that I could think was, I just want to go inside and go to bed. Okay. But on the other side of my door was a bride and 3 incredible kids that I hadn't seen in 3 days. And I would literally stop at my back door and I would think, Dusty, You cannot go all over the country and give 150% of everything you've got and pour into other people if you can't walk in this door and do the same thing. You've got 2.5 hours before the kids go to bed. Walk in and make massive effort. And I would open that door, man, and we would laugh, and I would throw kids and play with dogs and everything, right? And it took effort. Okay. Have you ever been so tired that you just feel like, I don't really have much left to give here? Connection requires that you and I make an effort, even when maybe we don't want to make an effort, even when, okay, everybody hear me, even when maybe others aren't making the same effort. Okay. All right. So a lack of connection, you and I like to draw the circle around the other people. I'm going to ask you to draw the circle around yourself to go and, hey, where can I lean in to make an effort in this area of my business relationships, in this area of my personal relationships, in this area of my home, with my spouse, with my kids, with my friends? Where do we need to make an effort in connection? All right, here's the next one. You will connect with people when you become a person they can count on. You will connect with people when you become a person they can count on. I want you to ask yourself this today. Can the people in your world count on you? Can the people in your world count on you? And here's what that means. That my feet and my mouth line up. That I do what I say I will do. Okay? Like, I want to make sure that the people in my world know that when Dusty says A, B, or C, that A, B, or C is going to happen. Okay? That I be a person that you can count on. So let me ask you today, are you a person that people can count on? When you are a person that people can count on, what it does is it connects you. They have a trust in you, right? That they can follow you because they know you're going to follow through. When you say it, can people take it to the bank? It requires people being able to count on you. Here's another one. Number 5. Connection requires you and I being generous. You and I being generous. Now, when we first hear the word generosity, typically we think about dollars, right? What we do with our money. Now, number 1, I do think there is a level that you and I have got to understand of generosity with what we have been given, okay? To whom much is given, much is required, right? And so there is a generosity level when it comes to our finances. I think there's also generosity in other areas. So when we say connection takes generosity, what are some other areas maybe that you can think of? Just raise your digital hand or come off mute. What are some other areas of generosity that help create connection? Anybody?
Time.
What's that? Time. That's
Time.
right. That's right. Time. Okay. That one of the key things that we have. Do you want to know how you let people know they're important to you? When you give them time. When you make time. Like, I love that Michael Cheever started off the call and he said, hey, Saturday night I had date night. That's time. Okay. What else? How else can we be generous?
With your skill.
With our skills. I love that. With our skills. That we be generous with our skills. That the more we know, the better we can serve people, correct? Hey, all my real estate people, are we in a skill-based market? Doesn't it serve our clients better the more we know, the better our skill is, right? That's a generous gift to them. Rhett, what do you got, buddy?
I'm learning more and more. You can be very generous if you'll just genuinely listen.
Yeah. Yeah. That we take the time to genuinely listen. That we take the time to genuinely listen. Cherie, what do you got?
Come on, let's love. Let's love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's love. And it doesn't matter how lovable that person is.
Yeah. No,
According to whatever our standards are. Let's just love.
that's right. Cherie, what a great way to put that. Let's just love, right? Let's just love. Let's just serve, right? That it not be conditioned. Okay. We kind of live in a world, I trust you know this, that's, hey, if you do this for me, then I'll do this for you. What kind of world would we live in if we just said, hey, I'm just going to do this for you? That's generous, right? I don't expect anything back. I don't even expect an affirmation. I'm just going to be generous. John Davison put grace and empathy. Okay. Felicia put our stories, vulnerability. Okay. Shannon Musgrave, grace and forgiveness. These are ways that we are generous. Let me ask you a question today. Would your friends, would your coworkers, would the people inside your four walls, would they say you are a generous person? Just want you to ask yourself the question today. Would they say that you are a generous person? Okay. And then here's the final one. Rhett, you actually said it. And that's actively listening. Not just listening. Okay. Everybody hear me. There is a difference between listening and actively listening. Okay. Active listening means I'm present with you. There's nothing else around. I'm locked in on what you have to say. And I'm not just hearing it, I'm listening to it. One way you can show that you're actively listening is to affirm and repeat what's been said to you. Okay, that shows that I'm actively listening to you. Okay, to affirm what it is that you're saying. Okay, to help, like, to give you the clarity of, hey, I hear you, and here's what I hear you saying, and making sure that we affirm and repeat it. Okay, so these 6 things are kind of requirements of what does it look like when you and I create connection. Okay. Now I want to lean into now a little further of how do we really do this within ourselves, and how do we do this with other people? Okay. So this comes directly from, and I think most of you know, this is the book that I'm reading for this month, John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And here's the first thing I want us to understand. Okay. Every single one of us on this call is in a leadership position. Would you guys agree with that? Okay. Now, I'm not saying you run a company. Maybe you do. I'm saying that every one of us are in some way, shape, or form in a leadership position. You are a leader in your home. You're a leader maybe to your kids. You're a leader maybe on a team. Okay. Every single one of us. So here's what I mean by you're in a leadership position. Somebody is watching you. Yes or no? Somebody is watching you. They're watching for what you say, and they're watching for what you do and how you operate. Okay. Now, if we take the word leadership and we go to the root word of leadership, the root word of leadership is leader, right? And then the root word of leader is what? Lead. Here's my question to you today. Is how are you leading you? How are you leading you? If you and I want to connect with other people, we have to first connect with us. Where I see leaders miss is they don't have an internal connection, and so they miss the external connection. You with me? Now, they're saying it. Okay, you tracking with me on this? Okay, you ever known anybody like this? Maybe you've been this, maybe you are this thing. You're saying it, right? But your audio and your video ain't lining up. Okay? Like I've got a tree, but there's no fruit on it. You tracking with me on this? Okay, so I want to read this to you. It says this, John Maxwell says, for leaders to be effective, they need to connect with people. Why? Because you first have to touch people's hearts before you ask them for a hand. He says that is the law of connection. All great leaders and communicators recognize this truth and act on it almost instinctively. You can't move people into action unless you first move them with emotion. I would say also you can't move people into action if you yourself don't understand your own level of action and your own level of connection. Okay. So I want to walk you through how do we gave you the requirements of connection. Okay. But I want to walk you through how do we really connect with people. Okay. We started the call by saying every one of us are in the people business. Yes or no? In your line of work, would you be able to earn an income if it was not for people? Okay. You with me? In your life. Okay. I want you to think about on a daily basis how many people you come in contact with, how many opportunities for conversation you have on a daily basis. All right. And I want you to write these 2 words down if you would. Okay. Would you write these 2 words down? Generational choices. Generational choices. You and I on a daily basis, okay, are making generational choices. And here's what I mean by that. And here's why I want to bring it up. The reason I'm talking about connection today is the first thing I want you to connect today is I want you to connect your todays with your tomorrows. You with me? What do you guys think I mean by that when I say that? Connect your days, your today to your tomorrows. Anybody? No wrong answer.
Steve,
I'm listening. Go, Aziz.
I just heard a podcast and 2 gentlemen were talking about being married, and they talked about how they don't want today's actions to jeopardize a dream Thanksgiving 20 years from now, where their wife is there and the kids are there with their families and the grandkids and things like that. So that's, my embodiment of generational choices,
Right.
what today's actions mean.
That's right. That's exactly that. That's it. You're spot on, Aziz. That's it. That the choices you and I make today are setting up our tomorrow. Yes or no? The choices you and I make today, I believe, have a profound effect 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I think part of where we miss as a people is we're not connecting today to tomorrow, right? We talk about someday all the time. Someday, someday, someday. One of my closest friends has asked me to share every time I'm on a call or in front of people to let people know and remind them that someday's not on the calendar. Right? Someday, we always talk about, well, someday I'm going to do this. We've got to connect today to tomorrow. How do we make sure that the choices I'm making today are going to connect to tomorrow and a year from now and 10 years from now, right? I think about this with my kids, okay? That today they're 11, but I can tell you they're watching every move their mom and dad are making, okay? And we're connecting their todays to their tomorrows. That's part of our coaching to them, helping them learn, okay? So here's how we do it, all right? First and foremost is we connect with ourselves. We connect with ourselves. And here's what I want you to hear. This says, you must know who you are and have confidence in you if you desire to connect with other people. Okay? You must know who you are and have confidence in you. Can I tell you one of the things that I see all across the country as I get the gift and honor to coach? It's this, that people don't believe in themselves. People don't believe in themselves. Okay? I say this all the time too in a room that whatever product you sell is not really what you sell. You with me? Like my buddy Ron Holmes doesn't sell electricity. Okay? You guys don't sell houses. Okay? What you sell is you. That's what people are buying. They're buying you. Okay? And I want you to write this down today. If you don't hear anything else today, please hear this. You cannot sell what you do not believe in. You with me? Not at the highest level. You might get away with it for a little bit, but you got to believe in you. And so I think we've got to take time to connect with us. Okay? This is why I ask you and beg of you to the whole reason that we start the morning, the call in the mornings with you taking time to journal. The whole point of that is that you connect with you. The whole point of that is that you connect your today to your tomorrows, that all of this goes hand in hand together. Are you with me? Okay. Make sure that we believe in us, connect with you. And team, that's going to look different for each and every single one of you. Okay. Like my morning routine is going to look completely different than Rhett's morning routine. Okay, completely different than Felicia's, completely different than Jackie's. But how do you connect with you? What does that look like for you to make sure that you can operate at the highest level? Okay, here's the second one on connection, and that is you got to communicate. If you want to connect with people, you've got to communicate with openness, honesty, and sincerity. You got to communicate with openness, honesty, and sincerity. How do we do that? How do we communicate with open honesty, and sincerity? Here's what we do. Like, we just tell the truth of how we feel, of where we're at, right? That one of the most attractive qualities to people is recognizing that these people are actually real people, right? That I hurt like you hurt, that I struggle like you struggle. Isn't this how we all connect together, right? So what does this look? How do we do this well? We communicate with openness, honesty, sincerity, and that creates an immediate connection. Okay, an immediate connection. Here's another one. Number 3, know your audience. Know your audience, okay? You may have heard this said, read the room. Okay? Like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? You gotta meet people. You gotta know, who am I talking to? Meet them where they're at. Know your audience. Okay? Do they think like you? Do they believe like you? Hey, can I tell you one thing I've learned? Is that we can connect with each other even if we don't agree. That we can connect with each other even if we believe different things. Do you guys believe that's possible? Right? Like, there's still this place of connection by just knowing our audience, reading the room. And here's one thing I think we need to understand as well. Get to know your audience. Like, take the time to get to know them. Just because they don't believe like you doesn't mean they're wrong. I don't know if y'all know that or not. You're welcome. You can write that down. Okay. Hey, and for the record, just because they don't believe like you doesn't mean you're right. Yeah, you're welcome. Like, get to know your audience. Do you know them? If you want to connect with people, you got to get to know them. Are you with me? Okay. Here's the next one. Number 4. I'll keep going because I could talk a long time on all these. Here's number 4. You want to connect with people, you have to live your message. You have to live your message. Here's what I mean by that. Okay. I see a lot of people talking about their message, posting about their message, arguing about their message, instead of just living their message. Okay. Be your message. Okay. Like, you don't have to put that message on people. You just live in that manner of whatever message it is that you are trying to communicate. And I believe in that you will connect with people because you're honest and authentic and sincere. That's what we talked about, right? Okay. That you practice what you preach. That your feet and your mouth, they do line up. Okay. This is what connection looks like. Okay. Here's number 5. Go to where they are. Go to where they are. I think we spend a lot of time, we're trying to pull people where we are or push them in a direction that we want them to go. You ever done this before? Okay. Connection is not pulling and pushing. Connection is, I'm going to come where you are. I'm going to sit down in your shoes. Okay. The best thing you can do is get up out of your own seat and out of your own shoes and go sit in their seat and put their shoes on and see this from the position that they're looking at. You want to win with people? Go sit in their seat and see things the way that they see them. Here, write these 2 words down. Without judgment. There's 2 good words. Okay. I think a lot of times we don't connect with people because we don't slow down long enough to get where they are and to get where they're coming from. You guys tracking with me on this? Like, get into their shoes, go meet them where they are. The best connectors I know are people that meet people where they are. Hey, and I want to make sure you understand this too. It doesn't mean you have to understand where they are. Okay, I don't have to understand. Can I tell you something about being married? There are many times I don't have a clue, like what my bride's thinking. Not a clue. Okay, but I don't have to. I just got to show up where she's at. Okay, I got an 11-year-old daughter today. Like, that's just, I'm getting more lost day by day in how I dad her. Right? Like, man, I don't even know what to do. Here's what I know I can do. Meet that girl where she's at. Okay. Makes sense? Okay. My kids love to play Fortnite. I'm terrible. I'm so bad. Like I'm just standing running at a wall. I don't even know what I'm doing or where I'm going, but I meet my kids where they're at. They like to play. So I go play. Are you with me? I'm learning a lot of Taylor Swift songs too, because that's where my daughter's at. That's where she's at, man. So I'm going there. You're welcome. All right, here's the next one. You want to connect with people? You focus on them and not you. You focus on them and not you. Now, can I tell you that is not an easy task? Because most of the time, we're thinking about what's in it for me. Are we not? Okay. Most of the time, we're thinking about what's in it for me. Hatis, the book name is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So let me ask you, when you get up every day, where's your focus? Where's your focus? Right? I've said this a bunch, but Zig Ziglar says, you and I help enough people get what they want, we'll always have what we want. You get focused on people. People matter. All right. Here's the next one. It's not enough just to focus on them. You got to believe in them. You got to believe in them. You want to connect with somebody? Show them that you believe in them. Okay. I say it all the time. Like if you need to borrow my belief in you, go right ahead, because I got plenty of it. Like, I'm going to take a stand for you and your greatness, even if you're taking a stand for your limitations. I'm going to believe in you. Okay. And then the final one is this: offer direction and hope. Offer direction and hope. What I find is most people are looking for hope. They're looking for help. Okay. They're looking for a hand up, not a handout. There's a difference. Okay. And when you and I can be a people that says, hey, I'm here. I'm going to walk this out with you. I believe in you. And I know that you can do this, and offer them hope in the middle of what they're going through. It changes everything. Okay. Connection. I'll tell you the biggest lesson that I learned in connection really does come with my kiddos. So you may or may not know this. And then I want to hear some ahas from you. You may or may not know this, but every single kiddo at my house that are my kids have 0 of my biological DNA in them. None. Okay. Like I was not there the day they were born. Okay. My Austrian daughter, I didn't meet her till she was almost 20. All right. My 2 kids, Caitlin and Grayson, I came into their world at 3. All right. And here's what I learned in this process. Okay. So my dad always taught me, Dusty, anybody can be a father, but it takes somebody very special to be a dad. That's what he always taught me. Anybody can be a father, but it takes somebody very special to be a dad. And what he was telling me was being a dad requires connection. Okay. Like I had an incredible dad who connected. All right. So when I came into my kids' world at 3, I was just this random guy named Dusty. Okay. And so for a long time, I was Dusty. In fact, I was Dusty. That's how they said it. That's how they said it, Cherie. They'd say, I love you, Dusty. That's how they say, I love you, Dusty. And I really struggled because my whole life I wanted to be a dad. Like I knew I was called to be a dad. But my kids didn't call me dad. They called me Zesty. And I would say to Elle, Mama, this is so hard for me because all I want is to be dad. And she would say, Dusty, you are, and they will call you this. So I never told them, I want you to call me dad, or, hey, you need to call me dad. I always just showed up. Okay. That's it. That's what I did. I just showed up and I leaned in. All right. And after a little while, a few years, I went from being Dusty to being Dusty Dad. So that was cool. We started to make a little bit of a transition. Every once in a while, they throw in Dusty Dad. Okay. And then in the pandemic, as a bowl coach, I got grounded. I didn't get in trouble. We couldn't go anywhere. And I got to spend a lot of time at home with my kids. And I will never, ever forget the day that my son walked in. He had a Lego and he said, hey, Dad, can you help me? I'll never forget it. Hey, Dad, can you help me? And I turned to my bride and I said, I got to go in the other room. I need a minute. I need a minute. Because in that moment, what I knew was I connected with my son. I was dad. You tracking with me on this? Okay. Now, here's what I want you to know. That was earned, and it is earned every day. Like I didn't stop there. I didn't go, all right, I'm dad. I got up the next day and I leaned in it. Now, everybody hear me. I'm not saying like I don't get this all right. You can poll my family and they'll tell you. I'm just telling you that in the Oglesby house, we have a house of connection. Okay. When we sit down at dinner, we don't have cell phones. We connect. Okay. We got non-negotiables in our calendar like Thursday night Chick-fil-A night and Saturday night date night because we're going to connect. Okay. I just want you to ask yourself today, what relationships do you have in your world where there's a lack of connection? And if you'll take these principles we just gave you today, you can lean in and create connection. You be the connector. Don't wait for somebody else. You be the connector. You tracking with me on this? All right. Let's hear from you. What are some ahas you got out of today? Anybody? Let's hear from you. Come on, come on. Go ahead, Kim.
Hey, good morning. Kim from Ocala, Florida. And I just have to tell you that this is something that has been on my heart so heavy, just like this last month for sure. And it stems around, a lot of my grown children and relationships with people that, are still very, very important with me. But just because of life, things, kind of change and shift. And this is an absolute, godsend that I'm on this call today and I'm hearing these words because it is just rejuvenating me and making me realize that this is where we all need to be.
That's right. That's right. Hey, and team, to your point, Kim, maybe today is a reconnection for you, right? Maybe today's a phone call of reconnection and you can do that real quickly of just, hey, I miss you. I love you. And I want to reconnect. and it can happen that fast. That's awesome, Kim. Cherie, go for it.
So, Dusty, when you tell the story and you always say that you don't share the DNA with your children, I always get really defensive for you, right? Because I want to be like, but they're your kids, man. And then I have to step back because in that truth is also a lesson for each of us, and I want to make sure that I say it out loud so that I receive it. Connection is not something that should be taken for granted.
That's right. Yeah.
You can't take it for granted. And so I'm going to cancel clear those thoughts where I want to defend Dusty not being, your DNA not being a part of that, because as you already know that, that even though there may not be a scientific DNA that's going in their lives, you've imprinted their lives forever.
That's right.
And so, I receive that message, and I cancel my wanting to defend the fact that, whatever that thing is that you say. So have a great week.
I love
Thank you
it.
so much.
Yeah. Let's not take connection for granted, right? It is something that we work at, right? It's not something that's just given, something that we work at, that we put in the time and the effort. Jackie, go ahead. What do you got, Jackie?
So I've always identified as an introvert. So I guess I'm the one that, I'll see somebody somewhere and I'll speak. I'm always friendly. I speak, but struggle with the really going further to connect, which works against me in the business that I'm in, because I'm in a business where I need to connect with people. So I wanted to say that I really appreciate you chunking it down, because I think that's just going to overall help me as I come out of this introvertness and begin to connect with people more.
Well, Jackie,
thank you.
Thank you and your honesty there. And I think the key, Jackie, is openness and honesty, and leaning into that, and being who you are. You can absolutely connect in that space, right? Handwritten cards is a point of connection, right? Getting real honest and vulnerable with people. Rhett, we got about a minute. Go for it, brother. What do you got?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say these calls just keep getting better and better and better every time that we do this. So the one thing that I wrote down before you'd actually said the comment is, I was thinking to myself, how do I connect more with people? And it's by me being consistent in what I suggest to others to do. And then you said, live your message, and I circled that. And this is what I've noticed about myself, is that when I don't live my message, I build a barrier where others can't connect with me, because when you don't believe what you're saying, no one else will either. Thanks, Dusty.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well said, Rhett. Well said. Hey, team, I love you. Thankful for you. Keep showing up each and every single week. I don't just mean on the calls. I mean, keep showing up for you. Keep being connected to you, and keep being connected to other people, all right? We weren't created to do it alone. So let's walk it out together. Love you guys. Bless you guys. We'll see you. Take care. Bye-bye.